Hi again. Okay, so final pathway in the activation sequence, moving from radiance into purpose, and it is the pathway of core stability. What Richard Rudd says about core stability is that core stability is a state of dynamic equilibrium and compassionate clarity that results whenever a person begins to live and move from deep within their core. So, I love that he uses the word equilibrium in there because I have that word in the gift of this 50th gene key in my purpose sphere. So the shadow of corruption, gift of equilibrium, and the Siddhi of Harmony. Line 2, posture and fluids, which is very appropriate for me because I became a yoga teacher about almost 15 years ago. Um, and this is mostly about the line 2 is about the spine, and it is about being able to um, move within the structure. And so it's not completely fluid like the line 3 is, but it is finding movement within the structure. And I find it fascinating because as I contemplate and have contemplated this line and this gene key, I have thought about the three main jobs that I do in my life personally. And so I spend a lot of time behind a torch in one spot blowing glass. I've been a glass blower for 27 years now. And so that is a lot of stillness in that work. And then I am a yoga instructor, and I teach 5 days a week, 7 classes per week. And I also do the quantum healing work, which there's a lot of time sitting, listening, and talking and interacting with people on a one-on-one basis. And so I feel like it is really important, and I understand the finding movement within the stillness because I think it's really interesting how different activities, like I love to rollerblade in the summertime, and I notice how rollerblading does something different in my physiology than yoga does, and the same with running. I like to trail run, and that also stimulates different receptors in my brain. And so all of the things working together to and the different types of movement in the body and how we need to focus differently, and all of these things I think are good indications of um, this particular gene key for me, and what especially with equilibrium and how I personally find harmony in my life. I feel like harmony for me is I have to be doing to find harmony and equilibrium and balance. I need to do a lot of different things. I don't function well in the world by focusing on just one thing. Um, I could probably, you know, adopt a little more practices like that with more structure in my life, and it would probably be more beneficial to me. But I'm a vinyasa flow teacher. I like movement, I like flow. um and yeah, so um this word corruption is super interesting to me, but um i think that I think that I'm just going to start by reading what Richard Rudd says about this gene key as a whole. Its title is Lost in Transcription, and it mirrors the process in genetics known as transcription. It's also in the codon ring of the Illuminati, and another reminder that um, if you would like to know more of the details about the codon rings and the amino acids and the other details like that, please visit genekeys.com. You can find all the information that you need there. Cosmic order, gene key 50. At your highest frequency, you represent a turning point in evolution. You are a turning point for individuals, and you are a turning point within every group. What this means is that there is a force in the universe that is constantly poised to make a quantum leap, and you are the environment through which that naturally occurs. This is actually a great responsibility, even though you may not be aware of the entire process most of the time. If people inherently trust you, it is because they sense this about you. The only real important thing for you to understand is that if you want to manifest your highest purpose, you will have to earn this trust through living honestly. Honest for you means to hide nothing at all and at the same time see the best in others. By trusting in other people's higher purpose, you will activate your own. This is very, very, very true. And this is, again, a very huge part of the reason why I chose to make these videos, because I realize that in the work that I do, it doesn't work in the quantum healing work. It does not work if people do not trust me. And to be even more honest, before I find this one interesting, because before moving into the Venus sequence, which is about love and relationships and connections, I'm going to have to get really honest about some things. And, I kind of like to think that I can possibly teeter around some secrets or some truths about myself and my previous life, and how I've come to learn certain lessons in life and things like that, because of a fear of judgment and fear of people not trusting me in the work that I do. But in revisiting this 50th gene key before preparing to do this video, it brought me a lot of ease. It brought me a sense of peace in knowing that it is actually through these choices that I've made throughout my life, which I've known this, but there's still that fear of judgment there, which, we talked about I talked about in the beginning. So it actually brought me some excitement, because I've lived a pretty exciting life, and I I'm kind of looking forward to it, because I like to be a rule breaker, and I feel like even as we move into the Venus sequence, I have this little part inside of me that feels like I'm sort of breaking some rules, because the Venus sequence is described as um, a very personal exploration and experience, and it is even kind of suggested to um, that this is something that should be done on a personal level. So for me to enter into this realm and be as vulnerable as I'm about to be here very soon in the near future, coming into the Venus sequence, I kind of feel like I'm getting away with something in a way, although there are actually no rules to any of this. I like to I've realized I like that I throughout my life, I think I like to make up rules in my mind just so that I feel like I can break them or something. I don't know. Maybe that it's like a little bit of oppositional defiance disorder, which I've definitely been labeled with in my life. So straight from Richard Rudd, corruption is an impersonal mistranslation of information as it moves into form. It is the pattern of processing sensations through the filter of fear and manifesting fear based reactions from others. Corruption is a deep forgetting of the original message and purpose of one's life. It distorts the collective codes of love and compassion into selfish agendas and the need for personal growth or gain. Corruption, corrupt actions are those deeds done without awareness of the impact on others or the environment. This flawed worldview results in the political and social corruption of modern society's outdated models of elitist hierarchy. Those who use hierarchy to control others represent the unconscious anger of the world. This anger creates irresponsible actions rooted in the inability to take ownership of one's impact on the world. Conversely, those who succumb to the fear of hierarchy become victims to it. They become overloaded with the weight of social responsibility and are either unable to escape the flawed system or shy away from the power and authority as a way to avoid confrontation. So, with that being said, we do oftentimes think of the word corruption on a social or political level, and it is important to know that looking at the corruption within our own hardware system, if we think of ourselves as a computer system and the data processing center of our own hardware system, and how things get lost in transcription within our own selves. And so there are some very interesting things here because of what is happening in the world. And so one of the things I was thinking that I should keep to myself is are some worldview opinions or things that I believe or whatever. And then I realized it's actually impossible for me to talk about the shadow of corruption without expressing the way that I see this current world that we are living in right now, um, because I think that I have this in my actual purpose sphere, because I do view the world from a fairly neutral perspective, and meaning that I have this innate trust that everything will always work out exactly how it's supposed to, no matter what. Like, there's no way around that. I truly believe that. And so, even though I do participate in certain certain things in the world, I do view things kind of like a video game. So I'm just going to use this most recent presidential election in the United States as an example. Um, I didn't think I was going to vote for the first time ever in my life, because it's not, I like, I kind of want to play the game sometimes, and then sometimes I just don't want to. And so then, and I didn't think I was going to vote until the very last moments of this election. And then I realized that there is this whole movement that I personally believe is made up of like a joining of like a collaboration from all these different spectrums and all of these different belief systems. And so I decided I wanted to like participate in the game, because in in my choice, I felt like I was going to participate in this more exciting, more dramatic experience. And if I would have voted in the opposite way, I felt like I would just be, um, I wouldn't even vote in the opposite way because it would just be too boring. So I view and watch the world as truly as a video game, knowing that everything is already predetermined and everything is going to end up exactly how it's supposed to. And so I think it's also extremely important for me to express that I don't believe that any system exists without corruption on some level. Um, and I mean, there's corruption everywhere. And so even within ourselves, like our systems are, we're constantly trying to uncorrupt our own individual bodies and systems all the time. It's like a constant process. So, um, there's a couple things that I marked here that I wanted to read directly from the Gene Keys book. And for millennia, The wisdom of all human cultures has suggested an incredible possibility that the microcosm exactly reflects the macrocosm and vice versa. As the famous mystical axiom states, as above, so below. If this is true, which to a holistic mind would seem logical, then deep within the human body we should be able to find the answers to existence itself, indeed. And indeed, the gene keys themselves are founded upon just such a suggestion that within these 64 genetic building blocks of DNA can be found an archetypal code that explains who we are and where we are heading, both as individuals and as a species. Ensuing from this suggestion, it would appear that certain archetypes within the human genome also have powerful links to other aspects of genetics as it governs the inner process through which life is created and maintained. The 50th shadow stands out in particular as an archetype that mirrors the process in genetics known as transcription. So, um, at the shadow frequency, data that is processed by the human brain is translated through the medium of fear. As this occurs, the data is corrupted, leading to a slanted manifestation in the world. In genetics, this 50th shadow has much to do with the way in which RNA copies DNA. RNA is a chemical substance similar to DNA whose role is to transcribe aspects of your genetic code in order that new proteins can be formed. In other words, RNA is a messenger that reads and copies the instructions for life. In this process known as transcription, messages can be misrepresented before they are translated. This is exactly what occurs within human society. Fear causes misinterpretation, leading to a reaction from one party, which triggers the same fear and counter reaction in another party. This results in chaos, the third shadow and programming partner of the 50th shadow. So, when I was contemplating this, I was absolutely amazed because prior to me first going into this gene key, I had 3 nights of dreams in a row, and I did make a YouTube video a while ago. So I think the title of it is Dream Messages from the Divine or something like that. And so instead of repeating those 3 dreams, which had a very, very, very important, 3 very important messages to me, I invite you to go back and listen to that video that I made specifically about the dream that I had that was talking about RNA and DNA. And it was a um, very wild, bizarre series of dreams. So I have to say, before moving into the attraction, which is the 55, which if I don't get to this to make the video today, please, please, please know that I'm posting this particular video today. And the 55th gene key is the weekly pulse, so you can listen to it for free for this week on genekeys.com. I don't remember exactly from what day to what day, but it is currently available. It is absolutely my favorite one. It's it's amazing, and it will give some insight into into what I'm about to share in that one, and that definitely is all related. And it's funny because I start to feel like I'm becoming repetitious, but this, we have to remember, is it is repetitious. This is a roadmap, and this is um, you know my what my focus is in this current life. And so um, the physiology in this 50th gene key is the immune system. which is also significant. Um, and it is, remember, the ring of the Illuminati, which I know there's a lot of negative connotations or ideas about the Illuminati, which is completely a misunderstood term for the Illuminati. And again, if you want to know more about that, you can go and purchase the Gene Keys book, or um, find more information about that on genekeys.com. Because it's not an evil force or some scary thing, as we are corrupted into believing that it is. So, but that's being said, I think that the immune system, for this one, it did lead me personally into some really interesting rabbit holes that I went down when contemplating this, because um, I was I like to find the shadow within myself, and then I try to look at the world as a whole. And this one, obviously, with the word corruption, is you're kind of forced to do that anyway. And so this is very much not long after um, COVID that I went deeply into this one, and my ideas and my opinions about the vaccine and the virus and all the things connected to it, and all the fear, all of the things. Even as I'm talking right now in this moment, it's fascinating because I'm like remembering all kinds of things. Sorry, again, these are never edited, so you will be hearing the phone ringing. Oh my! So let's move on to. I'm going to explain more in detail about what I mean about the corruption of those things once I get into the attraction, because it's much more relevant to talk about there. Um, I don't even know, not much more relevant. It's just that's what we're gonna lead up to. Um, I think that I there was something that I wanted to read to you about the the nature of self-organizing intelligence. So that's the equilibrium in the 50th. And obviously, whenever it's something like this and it's connected to nature in this way, I all of these always lead me back to this first one, and the intelligence of nature. Um I feel like, because once we get to the end of this whole chart, this is the path of individuation, is that these that line up in this way. And so for me, it's very interesting in in understanding the intellect and the corruption. And um yeah, very, very, very fascinating. So the nature of self-organizing intelligence. To understand the 50th gift is to see a great hope for humanity arising in the years to come. Within the 50th shadow lies a hint of this hope in the form of a new social model that must lie beyond hierarchy. If the data passing through the human brain is corrupted via the 50th shadow, then one must ask the question, what does it look like when it is uncorrupted? The answer is that within every human being is an inherent code for creating harmony, both on an individual level and on a global level. Here in the 50th gift is found the inner fulcrum upon which balances the quality of our lives and our future possibility for world peace. As the gift of equilibrium, this 50th gift also holds the key to deep inner peace. That is absolutely what my purpose is, and the purpose being being it's this is your natural purpose. This is not the purpose as in what you are here to do, but it is much more what we are here to be in the world. And um, I I know that in all the time that I spent in nature as a child and all of the um, destruction and chaos and things that I did in the natural world, like I mean, I would catch things and like hold them captive in aquariums and things in my house, and I thought that, you know, at the time, the innocence again of the radiance, I thought that I could like give these creatures a like they would know how much I love them and they would want to live in a tank or a pickle jar or something in my room. And there was always still a part of me that felt bad that I was taking them out of their environment. And I, you know, like figuring out like the feeling bad, like what do they want, and like but I love them and I want them to mm, like experience what it's like to live in a house with a little kid that likes to pick them up whenever I feel like it. And like, I don't know, like there's lessons in everything, and there's corruption in everything, and there's chaos in everything, and there's also balance and equilibrium in everything. And in my job, in my work, in my office, I truly believe that it is my job to do this with the people that come to see me and find equilibrium within the physical body, very connected to the line too. And obviously in yoga, equilibrium makes a lot of sense. We're balancing the right and left side of the hemispheres of the body. And in my work, in my quantum healing work, I feel like I'm doing that more specifically focused on the brain itself. And waking up the right brain is my job for people, and helping people to tap into this infinite source of wisdom that lies within every single human being so that we can experience endless possibility. And that's all about finding equilibrium and embracing the imagination and embracing the the voices in our mind and the things that we hear that we've been conditioned for so long to believe were something to be afraid of. Another part of when the corruption is actually a shadow, like how do we uncorrupt our system, our data system of our own individual selves? And I think it is through breath work, it is through embracing the imagination, listening to the thoughts that come into our mind, the voices in our head, because they do show up to tell us things. They're not here to torture us. They're here to bring us information, and we've been taught for a long time that that's something to be afraid of, and that means that our system is corrupted when in fact it's actually not. And and then we move into harmony. And one of the main ways that I help people find harmony, which is obviously directly connected to music, sound, vibration, frequency, is by using a person's own voice to find harmony and feel harmony and experience harmony within the human body. And so, for example, if someone's feeling pain within themselves, I ask them to go into that pain, to bring their awareness to that pain and ask, what is this? What is this pain trying to tell me? What are you trying to tell me? And it's not that you need to have an actual answer. Sometimes it does show up as an actual answer, but not always. And so ask, and then bring sound and vibration into that area of the body so that we can change the frequency to unblock blockages, or just to find answers and do whatever, just bringing awareness so that healing can occur, so that we are able to truly experience harmony. And that's what will resonate through our being. And that is um, truly how we change the world. Experience harmony within, harmony without, as above, so below. All of it is basically a symphony that we're playing here on the planet. And all frequencies are necessary. And so if we are stuck in a lower vibrational frequency, it's still always for a reason. And it's never just because we're just stuck somewhere to suffer. It's because for some reason, maybe our role is to keep this lower vibrational frequency active until some other things happen. Like everything is perfectly working exactly how it's supposed to be. And and it sounds kind of contradictory, but obviously if somebody's coming to see me, they're coming because they want to feel something different. And so it's time for them to change the frequency so that something else can shift and move, because it's always music. This is all about music. Like nothing is perfect all the time. And if we ever got to a place where it's like, oh, everything is we're living in full harmony and balance all the time, we would get completely bored out of our mind. We wouldn't even we wouldn't even want to come here anymore, probably. Not as we are now, as human beings now. Like we like excitement and drama and corruption, and um, we like to participate in this flow. And so, um, right now, currently, there's a lot of things stirring up, and you know, uh, how do we find harmony within that? I think it's the only way to find harmony within that is to like play, like find a way to play and to know that this is all exactly how it's supposed to be. So yeah, um, meet me in the next video, because I'm really excited to share the 55th gene key, especially because, like I said, it's the gene key of the week. You can listen for free if you visit genekeys.com within today or the next few days. Thank you.